I know I was a little harsh on it, but I still like this figure. Now, out of the two of these, Darkseid's most likely to end up in the top 10 list as opposed to Bane, just because we've seen this figure before. Hey, what's happening? YouTubers are back with a brand new action figure review, and today we're going to take a look at the new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman vs. Bane 2-pack. Essentially just reissues, but a much needed one. And y'all already know how this works. The box, it's a 2-pack box, typically what you'd see, Batman Knightfall, and on the back is image artwork we've seen before. So it's Bane breaking the bat's back. Alright, that is enough about that. Let's go and get these two out of the box. Here's Batman and Bane out of the box, and first things first, let's take a look at the base plates they come with, see if you've already seen this before, so go ahead and... Just like all DC Multiverse figures, they come with the data file cards, so there's only one in the box, and you see him breaking the bat's back. And then on the back is the data file. Feel free to pause it if you want to go ahead and read it. Now let's take a look at the figures, and we're going to start with Batman first. Real quick, I did want to make mention, I think it's cool that they didn't put the DC base plate or the card on the actual box art on the back of the inserts, because I hate how it rips off, because usually these inserts are pretty cool and pretty neat for like toy photography, potential like dials for displays, and I think I'm going to use this for my animated series display because it's essentially the Batcave and you see all the stuff here, all the props and stuff that Batman accumulated over the years. I think this is pretty cool. Batman does come with 3 sets of hands, and the first set of hands we're taking a look at are a pair of gripping hands. And speaking of gripping hands, to grip a batarang accessory that it comes with, and we've seen this before, it's come with the Knightfall Batman, which this is also the reuse of the Knightfall Buck, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Then he also comes with a pair of fisted hands. Then he also comes with a pair of like these open or about to grip hands, but I don't know what's going on with that thumb. It's looking kind of suspect if you ask me. Now let's take a look at the figure itself, and it is a new head sculpt. He's got like that beaten up look, like he's got his ass kicked by Bane. And I do like the shading around the cowls here, like around the mouth and then in the eyes. Looks really nice. The bloody mouth is a nice touch. You can kind of see a shadow there too, which is cool. And just to compare it to other, figures from the DC Multiverse line where they got their ass kicked, we have Superman that was in that 2-pack with Doomsday. So anytime they, repaint a figure to have like damage on it, it does look pretty nice. I'm gonna take a look at the rest of the figure. Everything is essentially a 1-for-1 reuse of the original Knightfall body mold, except you might notice this one has the raised sculpted emblem. This one was painted on, but it still looks good. I mean, it looks just as clean as the sculpted emblem. In terms of the paint application on here, I think they did a great job in terms of the shading and the battle damage, because all these damages to the suit are all painted on. And just like kind of comparing again with Superman here, his was also painted on as well. But the big noticeable difference is that this figure has a wired soft goods cape. Now, in terms of the wired soft goods cape, it is two-tone, so you have the shiny blue out here and black inside, and it has the wiring on the sides of the cape, which looks fantastic. One thing to kind of make mention, I don't know what it is, the way it's coming off on my camera, but this looks way brighter than it actually is in person, but I'm not sure why they wouldn't just keep it consistent with the blues and the grays. They sort of made it darker on this one as opposed to this, and one could argue that this one should have been darker in terms of the grays, but I do wish they would have kept the blues the same, so that way you can kind of swap the heads out so you didn't have to have a battle damaged Batman. But yeah, I do like the nice wired soft goods cape. It is a nice upgrade. I just wish the blues were a little bit more consistent and matching. And just to kind of compare a couple of blue and gray Batman figures, here he is next to the Knightfall Batman single release on the left, and on the right is the Year 2 Gold Label Collection Batman. And looking at them all side by side, I do like the gray better on this, but I like the blue better on this one right here. But what a time to be alive, because I'm just looking at this now, man. This was like their first venture into soft goods cloth cape, and now look at us with wired soft goods cape. What a time to be alive. Alright, now let's take a look at Bane next. So Bane comes with 2 sets of hands. The first one we're going to take a look at are like these open hands, and we've seen them before because they came with the regular release Bane that came out a couple years ago. And the next set of hands he has are a pair of fisted hands. Now I'm going to take a look at the figure itself. There are a few differences compared to the original release, but essentially most of it is reuse. But the thing that's different from the original release is the head sculpt first. The most important thing is different. And then the Venom tube is different as well. You can see right here, I suppose, this part. The little thing of the gauntlets is the same. They just didn't paint the one on the 2-pack. And on the back, you can see the tube goes all the way to the back of his head, straight right there. And this one, what happens is he had his tube right here, or his tank, and they just pour it into the back of his head. And another thing that's different is he doesn't have like this tactical harness around on the new one, and the belt is also different as well. But apart from that, they're pretty similar. Another thing, they also painted the hairs on his shoulders and his back, but missed some spots. I don't know, I guess he just only has it right here. So I do appreciate this Bane. It's a good re-release, but the thing is, it has that like blue shading right here. I think I've seen some customizers, some people already in some groups already remove it. I don't know if I'm going to do that because I'm not that talented. I don't know. I don't want to mess up the figure. But I will say this, like, I do like this one, and even though it's essentially another chance to get Bane, it is a different enough take compared to the original release, because I like to think of this one as more of like a modern take, and this is more of a classic. But out of the two, I still like this one. This one looks pretty cool, but there is an appreciation for the classic version. And just for some side-by-side comparisons, here's that new Mega Figure Bane next to the original release, and next to the new Batman Adventures DC Direct McFarlane Toys release, aka the Pulp Fiction Bane. And next size comparison, here's Bane standing next to the recently reviewed Mega Figure Darkseid, which I know I was a little harsh on it, but I still like this figure. Now, out of the two of these, Darkseid's most likely to end up in the top 10 list as opposed to Bane, just because we've seen this figure before. Next size comparison here is the 2-pack standing side by side. And last size comparison, here they are standing next to a soon-to-be obsolete DC card stand found in the collector edition boxes. Alright, some overall thoughts on this 2-pack. It's a good reissue, and in my opinion, the price point is fair if you ask me, considering how much this Bane is going for in the aftermarket, or the OG one, I should say. And speaking of which, I remember someone a couple months back was like, they're never going to re-release that Bane, they never re-release Mega Figures, and here we are with the Mega Figure re-release, just in different paint decos and some updated sculpts. But in my opinion, like I said, I think it's definitely worth it, especially if you missed out on the Knightfall Batman. You now have a soft goods cape that's wired, and you have a Bane that's more traditional look. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. YouTubers, sound off the comments below, and like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.